Something big just happened in Washington and almost nobody saw it coming. Did you see it coming? President Donald Trump just removed his own Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, a woman who just months ago was being praised by Republicans for delivering the most secure border in modern American history. But here's where the story gets interesting. She wasn't fired. She was moved, according to the story. And the man Trump tapped to replace her, a former undefeated fighter who is now a U.S. Senator. So let's unpack what really happened, why Kristi Noem is leaving Homeland Security, and why the next phase of Trump's security strategy may be bigger than the border. It was a surprise announcement. Here's what we know. Yesterday, President Trump posted on Truth Social announcing that Kristi Noem would be stepping down as Secretary of Homeland Security. Now remember, Noem has been one of the most visible members of Trump's cabinet during his second term, maybe too visible. One of the issues is an ad budget of over $200 million that she spent promoting DHS with herself on horseback and featured very prominently.
Why do I love these wide open spaces? They remind me of why our forefathers came here, not just for its beauty, but for the freedom only America provides. I'm Kristi Noem. From the cowboys who tamed the West, to the titans who built our cities, to the dreamers who chased the impossible, America has always rewarded vision and grit. Our greatness calls people to us for a chance to prosper, to live how they choose, to become part of something special. Anyone who searches for freedom can always find a home here, but that freedom's a precious thing, and we defend it vigorously. You cross the border illegally, we'll find you. Break our laws, we'll punish you. Harm American citizens, there will be consequences. But if you come here the right way, your American dream can be as big as these endless skies. From President Trump and me, welcome home.
Ms. Noem took over the department at a time when the immigration system was in complete turmoil after the Joe Biden years. And under her leadership, the administration says they delivered what they describe as the most secure border in American history, and it's hard to argue with that. According to the figures released by the department, illegal crossings have dropped dramatically to almost zero. More than 500,000 pounds of illegal drugs have been intercepted, roughly 670,000 illegal immigrants removed, and millions more reportedly self-deporting. Supporters say it's the largest immigration enforcement operation in U.S. history, which is why the announcement caught Washington by surprise. Because when the president moves someone out of a job like Homeland Security, the first question people ask is simply, what went wrong? During a Senate hearing, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy pressed Homeland Security Secretary Noem about a $220 million taxpayer-funded advertising campaign. Kennedy asked a very simple question. Who approved it?
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share, with the fact that you have spent $220 million running television advertisements that feature you prominently, okay? And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know you were going to do this?
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Noem responded that President Trump had authorized the spending, but here's where the story takes a turn. Shortly after that exchange, the White House clarified that the president did not approve the ad campaign. And just days later, Trump announced Noem would be leaving her position as Secretary of Homeland Security. Now, we're told she wasn't fired. This is a key detail. Trump didn't push Noem out completely. Instead, he announced she'll be taking on a new role called Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas. Ever heard of it? I haven't either, because it doesn't exist right now. It's about to be created. This is a new security initiative focused on the Western Hemisphere translation. Instead of focusing only on the U.S. border, we're told, this group will be focusing on other parts of the Western Hemisphere. The administration appears to be expanding the fight southward, targeting cartels and criminal networks across the Americas, South Americas. In her first statement after the announcement, Noem made it clear what the mission will be. She said she's looking forward to working with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to dismantle drug cartels responsible for flooding the United States with narcotics. She also emphasized that the Western Hemisphere is critical to American security. Can't argue with that either. And if you step back for a moment, you can see the broader strategy emerging. The administration spent the first year securing the border. Now they're preparing to go after the networks behind the crisis. Now, enter Markwayne Mullin. Let's talk about the man who will replace her. President Trump says he plans to nominate Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma to lead the Department of Homeland Security. If confirmed, by the Senate, Mullen will oversee one of the largest and most powerful federal agencies in the country. And his background is a little unusual. Before politics, Mullen was a businessman, a plumbing company owner, and yes, an undefeated professional MMA fighter. President Trump praised him as a strong advocate for border security and law enforcement. He also noted that Mr. Mullen is the only Native American currently serving in the U.S. Senate, making him one of the most prominent tribal representatives in modern American politics. But here's the funny part. Even Senator Mullen himself didn't seem to expect the job. Reporters caught up with him on Capitol Hill shortly after the announcement, and when they asked him if he was headed to the White House to meet with the president, his response was kind of honest. He said, "I think I need to talk to my wife first." That may be one of the most relatable political quotes that you'll hear all week. Now, by the way, if you enjoy breaking down the real stories behind headlines, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Every week here on Just the Truth, we take the news you're hearing about and we dig a little deeper into what's actually happened. Now, back to the story, because while the administration is framing this as a strategic shift, there were some controversies brewing behind the scenes. What were they? Well, Kristi Noem, of course, had been under intense questioning under the congressional hearings that I shared with you earlier. Republican Senator John Kennedy, along with other Republican senators, grilled her over her taxpayer-funded advertisement contract tied to a firm connected with people in her political circle. Reports later surfaced suggesting that the White House was unhappy with how that issue was handled during testimony. According to sources familiar with the situation, President Trump was particularly frustrated when Ms. Noem suggested that he had approved the advertisement. The White House later clarified that. Again, Trump saying he did not approve the ad, and that moment apparently added tension behind the scenes. And there were other distractions as well. During the hearing, Democrat lawmakers tried to question Noem about rumors involving Trump advisor Corey Lewandowski. By the way, they're both married. Noem pushed back. She called the accusations tabloid garbage and accused Democrats of trying to smear conservative women. It was one of the more fiery exchanges in the hearing. But in Washington, moments like that can sometimes shift political momentum. Despite the controversy, many Republicans were quick to defend Ms. Noem. One of the most outspoken supporters was Louisiana Congressman Clay Higgins. He told her directly during the hearing that she had inherited a disaster and had turned it around. He pointed to the 97% decrease in illegal crossings as proof of leadership. And even critics of the administration's immigration policies have acknowledged something has clearly changed at the border. We all know that. We recognize that. Whether you support the strategy or oppose it, the numbers show a dramatic shift from just a few years ago. Now, what does all this mean? There are two possibilities. The first is simple Washington politics. Cabinet positions change. That's a given. Presidents reshuffle their teams. Sometimes controversy accelerates those decisions. But the second possibility is more strategic. The administration may believe that the border crisis phase is largely under control, and the next phase of the fight is going after the cartels and trafficking networks that operate across Latin America. That's where Ms. Noem's new role could be very important. If this new initiative, the Shield of the Americas, expands cooperation with governments throughout the Western Hemisphere, it could shift U.S. policy from defensive border enforcement to offensive cartel disruption. That would be a major change in strategy, and it would explain why the administration might want someone focused entirely on that mission. We'll just have to see. Kristi Noem is leaving her post as Homeland Security Secretary, but she's not leaving the administration. Instead, she's moving into a new role targeting drug cartels and security threats across America. Meanwhile, Senator Markwayne Mullin, businessman, senator, former fighter, is now Trump's choice to lead the Department of Homeland Security. Whether this turns out to be a political shakeup or the beginning of a broader security strategy, we're going to find out soon enough. But one big thing is certain. When it comes to immigration and national security, the next phase of this debate in Washington is just getting started. And whether or not you believe that this new position with Kristi Noem is a promotion, a demotion, or whatever, I guess you just have to accept the fact that the president wants to keep her as part of his administration, or he would have just fired her and not offered her anything. The fact that he wants to give her another job, keep her in the administration, tells you he does have some confidence in what she can do. What do you think? Did this surprise you? Do you think she was really fired, or was this just a move, as some are suggesting? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639.